Yo, it's Dave. Yes, I left Cali behind. The Dave Not and Cali Show, one of a kind. Sundays, 5 p.m. Central. Truth you can. That's for more real people, real talk. Tune in. We'll explore.
Hey, I'm Dave Not and Cali, and today we have William from Ratchet Productions Studio.
What's happening, everybody?
We got
Hey.
John John Exile. No, not Exile. Jesus Christ. Exile in
No, what is it? Been it for years.
No,
it's American in Brazil.
American in Brazil. I don't know. I kept trying to say it. Exile for some reason. I don't know why.
No problem, Dave. We'll make sure your medication is there tomorrow.
Oh, leave it to me to screw it up, you know.
We're perfect, Dave. We're perfect.
Yeah. Well, you know, with the thumbnail, most people know what I want to talk about. But there's first thing I want to hit on something that, you know, every time the Congress has these and the House has these, these meetings of where they kind of have like this trial. They subpoena people in, or they need to talk to heads of whatever, and all these questions are asked, and you can't get a yes or no answer out of somebody. Well, I was hoping that with some of our people, the people that we wanted to be in there, to maybe be a little bit different. And I want you. This is Kash Patel. Let me put this on here. It just driving me nuts. Hang on. Let me get it.
Among other things, the investigative referral of the Clinton campaign plan. Why would somebody place documents in a burn bag related to this case?
That case is very much ongoing, so I can't comment on the stylization of the evidence we're collecting.
Yeah, I might have run back.
Can you comment at all on the Durham Annex, as I described it?
The Durham Annex, which has been publicly released thanks to the FBI's commitment to transparency, is one of the documents that's being utilized. And in general terms, speaking for burn bags, sir, a burn bag is what you use to put classified documents into generally, because that is literally how you destroy them.
So it appears that efforts were made by the Clinton campaign to reach out to the FBI agents or the Clinton sympathizers in the intelligence community in order to lead more credibility to the Clinton campaign plan. Do you think that's an accurate characterization?
Again, I'm not going to characterize that material because it's part of an ongoing investigation.
Thanks for being here today. I yield back.
Here's where I really wanted to start, but I took it back too far.
Thank you, Director Patel, for being here today. The FBI searched Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan residence, correct?
I believe that happened in 2018. I think there was 2 locations, sir.
It's 2019. And in that residence, the FBI found a safe, correct?
I don't have the catalog of evidence in front of me.
In that residence, the FBI found a safe, correct?
I'll accept your representation.
Okay. And in that safe, the FBI found topless and lewd photographs of girls, correct?
Again, sir, I'll accept your representation. I don't know.
Thank you. It was all over the media at the time. There's a New York Times article that says Jeffrey Epstein is indicted on sex charges as discovery of nude photos is disclosed, dated July 8th, 2019. And the Times reports a trove of lewd photographs of girls was discovered in a safe inside financier Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan mansion. Author Michael Wolff has conducted numerous interviews of Jeffrey Epstein. I'm going to play for you a video clip of what Michael Wolff said Epstein told him was in the safe and what he showed the author was in this safe. So let's please play that clip now.
Elected. And I was sitting talking to Epstein, and he said, wait a minute, I got to show you something. And then he went into his safe and he came out with photographs. They were Polaroids, I think, and he kind of spread them out like playing cards, and it was Trump. I mean, I think there were a dozen of them, and it was Trump with girls of an uncertain age at Epstein's Palm Beach house where all of the things that he would ultimately be accused of took place. And I remember very vividly 3 of them. There are 2 in which Trump is, the girls, topless girls are sitting on Trump's lap. And then a 3rd in which he has a stain on the front of his pants. And the girls are kind of pointing at it, sort of bent over, laughing.
So Director Patel, I'm going to ask you a very broad and general question. As you know, Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were friends. There are, of course, photos showing Donald Trump together with Epstein, correct?
I don't have the entirety of the photographs, but I think they've been photographed in public together.
All right. Are there any photos showing Donald Trump with girls of an uncertain age?
No.
Notice how they say uncertain age. They're trying to, because they can't really say. But what this is doing is it's leading people to believe, because they're saying uncertain age, not saying an adult woman.
They're trying to fabricate something.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Make your imagination go.
How do you know that?
Because that information would have been brought to light by multiple administrations and FBI investigators over the course of the last 20 years.
Well, you know what? That's just not true, because no one knew about the creepy birthday message that Donald Trump wrote to Jeffrey Epstein until the Wall Street Journal disclosed it. And then all of a sudden, the Epstein estate provides it to Congress.
Well,
so certainly, you weren't there at the search. You don't know what Epstein may or may not have done with those photographs even prior to the search.
Who's this Communist Party agent, by the
Maybe
way?
the Epstein estate has it.
You raise a great point.
So I'm going to ask you, have you asked to talk to
Watch
Michael
how
Wolff?
this conversation.
You raise a great point. I haven't personally asked to talk to
Has the
Michael
FBI
Wolff,
asked?
but
you
the
to get Michael Wolff?
FBI, I'll get back to you if the FBI specifically
So Michael
asked
has
ever.
about 100 hours of testimony of Jeffrey Epstein. Wouldn't it be good for the FBI to interview Michael Wolff?
I'm not saying they haven't. I just don't know.
Has FBI subpoenaed the tapes that Michael Wolff has conducted of Jeffrey Epstein?
I don't know.
All right. So if you could provide us an answer, that would be terrific. Sure. Well, let me ask you this question then. Have you looked at all the photos in Epstein files?
I have looked at all the information that the investigators who investigated this case have provided to run out credible leads.
And in the Epstein files was.
I want to stop just for a second. In Patel's defense, he's got so many things going on. He's got a lot of other things going on at the same time. So he has teams and crews and people that do all this investigation stuff, and they bring him summary versions of things and only show him certain things that are really, really important. So just keep that in mind as this goes on.
There, that creepy birthday message that Donald Trump had written to Epstein?
But that's what I was trying to tell you. You raise a great point. The estate of Jeffrey Epstein has a voluminous amount of information that they have not released before.
Okay, so that's great. So wouldn't it be great if FBI subpoenaed the estate of Jeffrey Epstein for all that information?
The estate is under no obligation to provide that material, even pursuant to a subpoena. That's a great point.
Yeah, that's just false.
Okay.
That's just false. You're the frickin' FBI. You can subpoena the information from the estate, and you better do that.
That's literally not how it works.
I'm going to move on now and talk
Pissed him
about
off.
Epstein's client list. You confirmed that exists. Attorney General Pam Bondi confirmed earlier this year that exists. So I just want to ask you a simple question. Is Prince Andrew on Epstein's client list?
The material related to Prince Andrew has been made public.
Is Prince Andrew on the client list?
We have released the index of names that were in Jeffrey Epstein's.
Is Donald Trump on Epstein's client list?
The index
This
has
is where
been
it goes
released.
sideways
The
for
index
me.
will speak for
So I'm
itself.
just going to say, America is a huge red flag. The FBI director could not answer
Gentlemen,
whether Donald Trump was on Epstein's
gentleman's time
client
has
list.
expired.
I
You're
yield
now
back.
recognized as the gentleman from Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the director for being here and for his work over the last several months, removing the taint of partisanship that has infected the intelligence community over the past several years under the last administration, under the last several directors, standing up for law enforcement, standing up for the brave men and women who work in your agency. But to set the record straight, we have to correct the record. And the record, early days of the first Trump administration saw a dramatic spike in news stories that contained sensitive and sometimes classified details about the FBI's bogus Russia probe, about a leak a day. It's unacceptable that senior FBI officials coordinated to leak classified information to try and harm President Trump. Documents produced to the committee in August of this year revealed that the FBI interviewed a former intelligence committee staffer who gave details on a systematic process through which leaks of classified information were affected by then Chairman, now Senator Adam Schiff. Were these findings escalated within the Bureau's chain of command, and if so, to what level?
Sorry, were the findings escalated?
Were these findings that were given to us escalated within the Bureau's chain of command, and if so, what level? Did you receive this information?
That entire matter is currently under investigation by the people at the FBI that handle leaks of classified information.
All right, it's good to know that there is an ongoing investigation. Can you tell me whether these leaks to the media compromised any ongoing FBI investigations during the Trump-Russia probe?
I can tell you, generally speaking, the leaks of classified information are detrimental to any work the FBI is doing.
Now, former Director James Comey testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee that he had never been an anonymous source, nor authorized anyone to be an anonymous source in news reports about matters relating to the Trump investigation or the Clinton investigation. Was Comey's testimony true?
In reference to Director Comey, I'm very limited in what I can say because of what the current status of those matters are with the FBI and the Department of Justice. When I am able to make those public, I will.
Can you tell me if there's an ongoing investigation there?
Again, without identifying any individuals related to the information.
Here, let's skip forward then.
Back gentleman from Washington's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Patel, before you joined the FBI, you had very strong opinions about what the FBI was hiding regarding Jeffrey Epstein. In a September 2023 interview with Glenn Beck, you said the Black Book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. In December 2023, you said, let us know who the pedophiles are. Even for a short time after becoming FBI director, in February of 2025, you tweeted, quote, there will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, no stone left unturned. In June, you told Joe Rogan, quote, we've reviewed all the information. We're going to give you every single thing we have and can. But then suddenly in July, everything changed. You and Attorney General Pam Bondi released one video and said that there was nothing more to see. Your July memo says you uncovered more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence, but that you had decided no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. That is a quote. I think what happened, Mr. Patel, is that suddenly you discovered that Donald Trump's name was all over these files, and you started a giant cover-up. So you are under oath, Mr. Patel. You just testified to Mr. Swalwell that you did not speak to the president about the Epstein files. To your knowledge, did Attorney General Bondi speak to the president about what was in the Epstein files?
I can't speak for Attorney General Pam Bondi.
So to your knowledge, you don't have any information. The question was, do you have any knowledge? Do you have any knowledge?
I can't speak.
You are refusing to answer the question. So let me tell you that the Wall Street Journal reported that in May, Bondi told Trump that he was in the Epstein files, and at the same meeting said that the DOJ did not plan to release the files. Yesterday, you testified to Senator Kennedy that there was, quote, no credible information that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone else, and that you have, quote, continuously and publicly asked the public to come forward with more information, and we'll look into it. Today, in response to Mr. Massey's question, you appear to say that the survivors were not credible. These are survivors.
That's not at all what I said.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you this in a second, but let me tell you about the survivors, and let's bring them up here into the room. These are women who came to the Hill and testified that they were groomed and raped at the age of 14 and 16 years old, and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI and to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to invite all
Is the answer yes or no
leads.
to whether or not you met with these women who were sexually abused
and rape.
As much as I don't like
Any
her,
insinuation
I'm
by you or any
absolutely
people on your
decided about
side
yes
that I am
and no.
not manhunting child predators and sex traffickers, just look at the
Mr.
stats.
Patel.
And you talk about
he should have met
cover-ups,
with these
man.
people.
Chairman,
You
this
talk
is
about
my
He's
time,
doing
cover-ups.
the
and I
same
will
thing
take
that
as
the
much
other
time
side
as
has
Where
always
were
done.
you
It's
during the
like back then
Obama
when
and
the
Biden
lies about-
administrations when these so-called
Instruct the
cover-ups were
witness.
going on?
Mr.
Why didn't
Chairman.
anyone in those administrations
Time.
talk to any of these
Mr.
purported
Chairman.
witnesses?
Let's
I
get
have
some regular
welcomed
order, Mr.
every
Chairman.
single person to provide credible information.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Washington.
And I'm
When
gonna
you-
take
when
another
you
couple
accuse
of
the
minutes.
witness of something, he's allowed to respond. That's how it works. You say
Listen,
something,
he didn't even,
say
excuse me,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Chairman, you have
Point of
always been
order.
fair, but
I'm-
this is
and I'm
not
being
fair.
and you will get
No,
your,
this
you will
is
get your
my time, and he
You will give
said,
the
the
gentlelady
witness.
Well,
Break it up, Dave.
Additional-
I've seen enough. I've seen enough of that. But
Yeah.
the thing is, where was all this interest back when Obama was in office and when Biden was in? Where was all this interest on the other side to just totally go after this? And now that it's our side that's in there, all of a sudden there's great interest to go after these people.
Not saying,
But
yeah.
my point of
But
getting
Israel-
upset
thank
about
you-
how
thank you,
these
Israel.
trials,
I think there's a
these
lot of
trial
Israel
terms,
involved in this.
but they don't do any good to have these hearings because no matter who you put up there, they seem to revert back to not being able to answer a simple question, yes or no. Now, I understand if there's a ongoing investigation, they can't talk about something. Well, then the people asking the question should also understand that there's an ongoing investigation and they won't be able to answer it. So it
Dave,
just drives me up a wall when they do these things. They spend all this time getting people to come in and then they don't get any answers and everybody leaves. And it's like,
I have
nothing.
one question. Where's Bongino? Where has he been?
I don't know.
I haven't seen him in a
I
long,
really don't know. I haven't heard or
time.
seen anything. Well, I think he was on somebody's talk show the other day.
He's been on a couple of times. I've seen him the last few days.
Well,
Yeah.
Patel's the one that's taking all the beating. Where's Bongino? How come he's not stepping up to the plate and backing him up?
Well, all I
Yeah,
can say is a lot of what we're seeing is what's happening with the Epstein stuff. You can pretty much thank Israel for making sure that doesn't be talked about. That's the Mossad's baby. That's their. See, okay, people seem to forget how did Israel get started? How long is the Israel government and what we know as Israel that we know as Israel? How long has that been around, Dave? You know?
As long as I can remember, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Well, okay. That's sort of a close answer.
What's it go back to? What back to Nixon or further?
Well, okay. So let's take it back to the time of Prohibition, when and the reason
way
I'm
back then.
going to
Okay.
go the reason why I'm going to go there is because we've got to understand why the FBI acts the way it does and what the role, what part, how did the FBI become a thing? What was its whole purpose? Usually the government says one thing, but they have a whole other reason for it anyway. So go back to the Prohibition years, whenever it was not legal to do alcohol and stuff. And so basically that started a whole new wave of organized crime because people wanted their alcohol.
Right.
And it was a way for an easy way to make a bunch of money. And you didn't have credit cards, so hard assets like gold and cash were around. Okay, so then fast forward a few years, then these power structures and these families that started organized crime just basically out of Prohibition decided to do like a lot of corporations do, and they merged because they realized that they're more powerful as a conglomerate. And then because they're using the financial system that was put in place by the feds, they kind of came together with the Rothschilds, and then they wanted a really cool place, and they started forming this area called using this new Israel, which probably dates back about 80 years ago, maybe a little longer, 70 or 80 years, give or take a little bit. And J. Edgar Hoover was was the leader of the FBI when it first came to be a thing. Remember that? Does that sound right?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't go that far back.
Okay. All right. Well, the
I
reason why I'm bringing
remember.
that
I
up.
remember some of
Okay. All right. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it's very important to remember these few key details right off the bat. J. Edgar Hoover was a homosexual, and he liked to put on women's clothes and have gay sex. We all know this. And this was a thing that wasn't very acceptable at the time when the FBI became a thing, because it was nowhere near normal to do that. And then what some of the Israel government did when this was all becoming a thing, knowing that there was an FBI system formed against the organized crime, which was funding a lot of the crazy things that were being used to build Israel's government, Israel's system, the new Israel that we see nowadays, along with this ties back into nuclear weapons and all. They did a honeypot thing, or they gained intelligence on high-ranking government officials using this thing called blackmail by gathering videotape, audio evidence, and pictures of people like J. Edgar Hoover doing this gay sex and all this stuff. Well, fast forward a few more years, you got to remember now, because of all the hush hush going on, that's whenever they were starting to build up the Israel's nuclear arms started building up under the table through using organized crime to move these products, money, and everything to build that, because Israel doesn't have, you can't check in on Israel's nuclear mess at all. You don't even get to look at them. They're the only place in this whole wide world that you're not allowed to check into their nuclear system at all. Whatever they're doing, can't monitor it. By the way, if you're a criminal and you go to Israel, if they don't want you to be extradited, can't extradite. Little tidbit people don't realize. And because of this system set up, all of the blackmail and all of the Epstein's type stuff ties all the way back to Israel. For anybody to say that and we even saw did anybody see the James O'Keefe hit piece that he found out? He interviewed a DOJ dude that was working in the time back in the 90s, who openly said, name some names, very important, how Epstein was a Mossad intelligence person, worked for the Israel people.
Oh yeah,
and
allegedly, yeah.
Okay, well, the FBI doesn't work for America. The FBI operates in America, but they answer to all of the Israel government intelligence, because there's been a lot of things that have been put in place by Israel's government that governs what kind of information that we're allowed to get. They run our politicians. There's a lot of people who would argue that fact, but I promise you, all you've got to do is just watch an episode of Congress whenever Netanyahu walks down the Senate floor, when you have the Democrats and the Republicans with a standing ovation, hands clapping, whistling, cheering, hugging, holding Netanyahu. And to be honest with you, if you look at, about all your Congress is bought out by AIPAC, but there are more Democrats that are not AIPAC than there are Republicans, strangely enough. Little FYI. So that's why you're not going to get any answers at the FBI, especially when it comes to Epstein. And anything that's related to any operations that were done over here through assassinations or deleting of people that may involve in Israel intelligence, Mossad, you're not going to get anything out of the FBI with that. There's going to be a major information shutdown, and that's probably what we're facing when it comes to Charlie Kirk and other things, by the way. Anyway, sorry about that. Little something.
Yeah, that's all right. It was interesting.
Yeah. I left out a lot of pieces. You can go back and check everything I said.
Well, and then this next guy that I've been kind of watching, this kind of goes off in a little bit of a deep end, but at the same time, when you listen to what he has to say, it's pretty convincing, but there are some holes. But anyway, I'm going to show this, just, and you guys decide, and I'll stop it a couple times. Here, get it going here. No, wrong one. Here it is. This one.
Wrong hail.
Israeli security detail killed Charlie Kirk, and Charlie Kirk's assassin is caught on tape. Blake Bednar has brought us this video. We'll break it down. Take a look at this. Here it is from a wide angle. Watch Charlie Kirk's right side of his t-shirt. Watch the lavalier lapel mic. Do you see it explode?
Not in
Let's
that
bring it just a little bit closer. Watch this. Put it in a freeze frame. That is the explosion from Charlie Kirk's lavalier lapel mic. Want to see it again? Bring it in closer. Remember when we told you that that was absolutely an exit wound? Yeah, it is. Check the trajectory of the round that was deployed from that level mic. That went directly from Charlie Kirk. That went directly from underneath Charlie Kirk's white T-shirt up through his neck and created the exit wound that we told you was an exit wound immediately when we saw that exit wound. First we had exploding pagers. Now we have exploding mics. Do you remember the vector analysis from John Bray? That proves that all of the activity came from the mic that Charlie Kirk was wearing. Remember the palm gun guy in the brown shirt, that shadowy looking guy with the sunglasses?
Well, this is interesting.
Yeah, he pushes the detonator. Clear as day.
Counting gang violence. Great.
It's a strange movement that he's doing. I mean, you can say, "Oh, my arm itches. Oh, I got a pin up here."
That's the assassin.
But look right there.
That's the guy that pushes the detonator, which perfectly aligns with the explosion that pushes that projectile through Charlie's right side of his neck and out the left side, creating the exit wound.
There's more.
That might just look like the chaos that you would expect after someone was publicly executed in broad daylight in front of 3,000 people. But in no way did that trigger man, that assassin in the brown shirt with the sunglasses, act alone. We have video now from Destiny that shows the handoff of this remote detonator.
Kind of hard to see, and then they keep putting things up on the screen, but he does reach back and he puts something in his back pocket. And this guy, look, getting ready to hand him something else right there. And then he was so concerned with Charlie, and then he walks away. That guy in the white shirt.
Yeah.
He just walks away like if so really he wasn't concerned about Charlie like you think he is. I mean, this based on this theory.
We had John Cullen on the program last week, and he made a great point about ballistic acoustics being altered to hide the location of the real shooter. Well, the same needs to distract from the fact that there was no shooter. Tyler Robinson did not kill Charlie Kirk. This guy, brown shirt guy, he's the assassin.
Oh, way. If you want security, the Israelis know what they're doing. Exactly.
Okay, wait a minute. So if this goes to trial, they don't unalive, and I think they're kind of watching Tyler Robinson. If the public doesn't buy the narrative that Tyler Robinson didn't pull the trigger, then they'll probably unalive the dude while he's in jail. But if he happens to make it, if they think that the public's buying that narrative enough, then there should have been a gunpowder residue test done on Tyler Robinson's hands, because anytime you do a firearm, I don't care if it's a pistol or if it's a rifle, there's a discharge of gunpowder that gets on your clothes, it gets on your skin, and it's easy to detect. That if there is no gunpowder residue on any of his clothing or any of his body, then that means that the gunshot did not come from Tyler Robinson. I have not heard not one content creator even bring that point up yet. You heard it here first. I'm serious.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people. I've heard Candace. I've heard everybody say this. Nobody said, well, wait a minute. Did the police do a gunpowder residue test? Are they going to? We'll only know when this goes to trial, which Utah, by the way, is actually the only one of the few states that has to have a televised court thing like this right here. I think is how this will work. So maybe we'll get to see.
See, one of the other things too that I saw that goes beyond this was once this little bit of mayhem goes by and Charlie's body, they move him out of the way. All of a sudden, they're moving the tables and the chairs around. They're taking him down. They're not even marking it as a crime scene, and that is not protocol. I mean, this is a crime scene. There was no tape lit up. Yeah, it's just.
So the guy gets the SD cards. This guy is supposed to be a close friend of Charlie Kirk's. He says he didn't want bad actors getting these things.
He also said that it was a habit an instinctual thing to get it out of the camera, because they thought
It's really kind of weird to have that much of instinct in a circumstance like that.
Right, I know.
You would think that you would just grab the whole camera, just get out of there with
If
it.
you're
If you're
worried
going to do
about it,
that,
yeah, just grab the whole camera and go with it.
grab the whole camera. Okay, all right. So, okay, why was the scene not immediately secured when police came to the scene right there? Because they were hauling Charlie Kirk away, but police walk away, leave the scene completely open to where people were grabbing hats and throwing them, regardless of what their intentions were. That was happening where the scene was being immediately disrupted. And if you actually watch some of the video, you can actually see a puff of cloud, a puff that comes up from under his shirt, like a little cloud of smoke. I've seen that image of that stuff, which doesn't make any sense. And I seen a back shot like there was close up images of Charlie when it happened, and you could see his shirt like blow back, like a big puff kind of blows behind him, like some kind of compression went on inside of his body.
Oh, yeah.
And that's real strange. I know that your shirts do weird things. I guess if you're taking
Directly from Charlie,
but there's just any kind of 30-06 round would if you could see the backside of Charlie there when this happened. I was watching Candace Owens. They slowed it down. You can see it right at his neck. It's like it bulges out a lot, like there was like a wave. You can kind of see it in that image right there, right behind his neck. His shirt has and you see the cloud of smoke come out right there. See it right there. See that cloud of smoke? It's really strange to see that, considering a bullet wouldn't do that. A bullet that's hitting, say for instance, if the argument says, well, he had body armor on and it ricocheted off his body armor, and that's how it went into his neck. Well, then you wouldn't see smoke like that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just don't see it. There was something looked like it did go off in his shirt. It really does. I mean,
but I know. But my problem is if it was in the lavalier, like he's saying, wouldn't, whenever you have a reaction, you have an equal opposite reaction. The lavalier should have flown the opposite direction as the projectile came out. You know what I mean? It would be whatever the kickback is. So that's why I don't totally buy the idea, but at the same time, it's strange that the shirt goes up like it got inflated. You know what I mean? It's like
and then one other thing too, you've got to add on to all this too, is there was no autopsy.
Oh, good point, John.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
good point.
That doesn't make any sense.
That is about as big of a red flag as you can get.
Okay, all right. We all got our points there, different ideas of how things worked. Personally, myself, I think a 30-06 would have done a hell of a lot more damage. The so-called rifle that was picked up. Now, if it was as far as distance as that was, the bullet would have expanded, and it would have done a hell of a lot more damage. I got a 30-06. I've used it before. So that's my opinion on that. 2, Kash Patel said they have over 20 people they're investigating. How's that coming along? 3, why cover this up? Why? What? I mean, he's dead. He got shot, right? Or something happened to him. Why cover it up? Who's behind this? That's my question.
A lot of people want to know that.
One last thing, John. Hold up. One last thing. That guy, when everybody, after everything happened, everybody, they were going as fast as they can toward the exits, right? But there was still that one guy who was cheering. Whatever happened with him?
Okay, they talked to him already. You can put him into the wayside too. He was just got caught up in the moment and everything else. They've interviewed him and let him go.
You really believe? Do you really take that, John? When everybody else is running like a bat out of hell.
He could have been a Kirk hater. It's just you gotta take, when you talk about something like this, investigating something like this, a lot of strange things are gonna happen. There's no such thing as cut and dry with this garbage. It's just at the moment you got one person. Look at all the people still today are cheering on the death of Charlie. I mean, it doesn't even make any sense. Why do you think this guy might just have been caught up in the moment, going like, "Hey, he's dead," blah blah blah, this, blah blah that. Like, You know, it's crazy to normal people, but look how many whack jobs are out there. They're out there by the thousands.
Here's another one.
Oh, what? Do you think he might have been a distraction while everybody else is doing all
anything is possible? But I would rule him out because after I saw them, they did the interview with him a couple of times. They held him for like 2 or 3 days.
Kirk's white T-shirt through his neck and exit wound. He was an exit. Immediately saw that exit wound. First, we had exploding pagers. Now we have exploding mics. Do you remember the vector analysis from John Bray? That proves that all of the activity came from the mic that Charlie Kirk was wearing. Remember the palm gun guy in the brown shirt, that shadowy looking guy with the sunglasses? Yeah, he pushes the detonator. Clear as day.
Counting gang violence. Great.
That's the assassin. That's the guy that pushes the detonator, which perfectly aligns with the explosion that pushes that projectile through Charlie's right side of his neck and out the left side, creating the exit wound. That might just look like the chaos that you would expect after someone was publicly executed in broad daylight in front of 3,000 people. But in no way did that trigger man, that assassin in the brown shirt with the sun.
Same video. I was looking at another one. Yeah, it ended up being the same one.
See, all the information that's right there from I can go back in my history, the information we've seen on this film and what have you, all that it does is give credence to it's worthy of an investigation. There's no conclusions drawn to this at all. Number one, a lot of basic factors are missing. What about the autopsy? That is very important. Number two, was there a bullet found in his body or was one found? What caliber was it? In other words, these are certain different things. In other words, was there a detonator? We talked about also too about the shooter. Did he have any residue on his fingers? All these factors built, they either eliminate things or add things on. So right now, all that we have is it's right now it's not even a cover up. It's a question mark.
Okay, well now that's are you guys sure that no autopsy has been done? And not
I've
wasn't
watched a couple of different sources said there wasn't an autopsy.
Yeah, they said that the surgeon removed the bullet. That's not an autopsy.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen any images of the bullet. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know what the fragments look like. That's they said the bullet was kind of lodged beneath the skin. Like that was the entry wound, and it kind of bounced around and just stayed there and stuff. And
I don't buy
it. Yeah, there's a lot. So does anybody know about the financial state of Turning Point at that time? Know anything about that?
Not that I know of. I thought they were doing really, really well.
They're doing well.
Picking up
Yes,
steam.
doing well. Exactly. Yes. Not check. Okay, what I mean by that is there was Charlie Kirk made a proposal and got his team together and said this is what his plan was, because he kind of just did a crunch of some numbers, and you got to remember this is a large $1 million company, $100 million maybe, close to that, in and out movement of money.
Yeah.
And that's a big investment. That is a lot of money. Now, he noticed that some of the math wasn't mathing. He's seen money going out in places that didn't make any sense, and he's seen money coming in that wasn't making any sense. So he was going to hire a team of people like kind of like a Doge type situation where they go in there and they kind of audit the system and see where money's going, where it's
in his own organization.
Right. And where's money going? How is it? Who's bringing this money in, and where's it going out to? Because when you have that kind of money, it's really easy to, $1 million can go one way or another. Yeah, you would never know it.
Off something else. Yeah.
So that when you start, if you've got somebody's money train that might be under threat, family has done really bad things to other family members for way less. A $50,000 life insurance policy may or may not determine how long you live as mama. So And when I was getting out earlier about the SD card thing, there's a lot of people who say, "Oh man, but that's one of Charlie's really good friends." Well, there's a video that actually shows that same guy after he got the cards out of the thing, propped up leisurely against the side of the building on the back side of the building while he's on his phone, just standing there, like kind of leaned up against the building. That's weird position. It's weird demeanor. People say, "Well, that's Charlie's best
Yeah,
friend." How
somebody on the
dare
phone
you?"
saying, "Did you get the SD card?" Yeah, I got it.
Something, right. So it was caught on camera and it was a quick shot of it. And while I'm talking, I'll try to find it. I've got it on my Twitter page. But anyhow, my point, my point is, I knew people that were friends and like, guys live with, say for instance, dude man is married, got a wife. He's got a friend of his that fell on hard times. And
Right.
whenever dude man would go to bed, the friend that's living there because it's on hard times, be banging the dude's wife. And that's supposed to be his best friend. They fish together, they hang out together, they haul scrap metal together, they work on cars. He banging his wife while he goes to bed. And so what I'm getting at is just because they're really good friends with somebody does not mean for 1 second that there could be some kind of a financial interest that would far exceed a friendship in a given moment. And so, I'm always making large amounts of speculations and so I'm trying to get back to where this guy is. Okay, this no, there's this. Yeah, this
Basically, like
right
I
here.
mentioned before, the
Hold
whole
on.
thing is suspect. It's suspect at this point.
Yeah.
Well,
There's too many
there's
questions, John.
let me get to this right quick here. Let me present this right quick here. Let me see if I can find. I got it. I found it. Is
What's
it?
that one? The
Yes.
third one down on your page.
Here we go. Okay. Is it? Am I here?
That
The
went
right one?
directly from
No.
Charlie Kirk's lapel. That went
Sorry.
directly.
Oh, here
Why
we go.
is
Right
it
here.
doing that?
There we go. Okay, I did that.
Oh, you did. Okay, I'm
Okay.
trying to shut it off. Okay.
All right. Let's see here. This is you see where this is where the stuff went down. The SD cards got the same guy who gets the SD cards is I think this is the right video. The cameraman pans to the left. I think this is it.
What's
Might not
that?
have the right video. Yeah. Right there.
One guy put it in his pocket, yeah.
That guy right there is the same guy who obtained the SD cards while he's propped up against the wall there. I don't know
Huh.
why that's the same guy. I watched the
Is that the same guy that jumped over the table, or that's a different guy?
That's the guy who got the SD cards.
Yeah, just
Yeah, that I think that is the same guy to jump over the table right here.
Yeah, but that could be answered
Yeah,
also
yeah,
too, that
right
he hit a
there.
quarter by himself for silence, can hear so he can hear better.
Yeah. Well, either way, I mean, yeah, there it is, right. This guy right here that was getting these SD cards. Because I watched Candace Owens do a presentation on that. She actually contacted the guy and talked to him
Yeah.
personally, and this was what he had told her, that it was because he didn't want the bad actors getting the footage or something like that. And that may or may not make sense. It's just the demeanor. This was the chair that Charlie Kirk was sitting in down here.
But that camera is facing towards the crowd, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like
Exactly.
going through, recording the
That is a
crowd.
high definition camera. That is a high definition camera that would be
Right.
able to see that bullet coming to them if they needed to slow this
Maybe, yeah, you might be
footage
able to
down.
pick up the streak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same kind of camera that would have caught the bullet going towards Donald Trump's ear. That would be the same kind of high definition camera, and
Yeah, a little bit
looking
of
right at the
blur.
audience would have been able to get you would have been able to zoom in and see possibly even activity on the roof once you knew, you could actually use that footage and dissect it. And that was now you know who's got that footage now, by the way?
Ooh, that's what I'm
FBI.
wondering.
Yeah, that may or may not be a good thing. All I'm
Yeah.
saying. I don't trust Cash Patel because they don't they just don't the FBI is not It's not a self-running organization. It's operated and it's not by our government. I mean, there's certain aspects of it that are allowed to do things and do FBI stuff, make it look good. We busted some fentanyl, we did some this, we did some that, but we really haven't actually seen FBI do real FBI stuff except for cover things up when it comes to high-profile crimes to fit narrative for politicians. And not only would the financial aspect of where money's going, that could be a problem. Uh, but just the Democrat Party alone would benefit from a person like Charlie Kirk not being around. Yeah,
Oh
because of
yeah,
his ability to move the needle when it comes to people. And I'm not saying that Erica Kirk had anything to do with this. I just think that it's strange.
no,
Her demeanor is like it's not bothering her as much. She's on camera now doing Charlie Kirk show, and smiling and interacting, and not not dude. It's only been 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I just really don't understand. I think I would have taken more of a time for a healing process before I
yeah,
started
yeah,
doing that. I'd have been even if I wasn't that upset, I'd pretend like it. But you know, something there just kind of hits me a little bit wrong that she's already jumped in the seat and doing it. And immediately before Charlie Kirk's body's even cooled off, people like Ben Shapiro are like, "Yes, I'm going to I'm going to do the Charlie Kirk show." I'm like, "Oh, well, there goes Israel, hijacking this movement to run it into the ground because Charlie Kirk was not anti-Israel or anything matter, but he was anti-Israel government. He was getting to that point when he's seen how they were trying to move him with the opinion of by money, didn't like it,
yeah,
and so that was enough to start convincing people not to be so sensitive when it came to being anti-Semitic. Just say what you got to say. And Israel can't have that because like, if say for instance, if you're a criminal operation, your main goal is to not let people know that you're a criminal operation. So by doing that, anytime somebody starts to speak about your criminal operation, you need to figure out a way to shut that down as fast as possible, regardless if it looks good or not. You don't want anybody even remotely starting to associate that kind of behavior. And not saying Israel did it, but I'm just saying there's a lot of things that that. By the way, I move around a little bit. But why hasn't Israel
yeah.
APAC people like Ilhan Omar out yet? You don't think as powerful as APAC is, and they can do what they want with their money and buy politicians? How come Ilhan Omar is still allowed to be in office? As much as she hates Israel people and she's such a hardcore Muslim, why is she allowed to still be in office? I'm asking that as a facetious question because I have an idea, and I'll answer my own self.
Yeah,
Because
you answered.
Israel wants America to be destroyed, and they don't want to be the ones that do it. They just want to pick up the pieces. And how do you destroy a nation? You bring in a bunch of Muslims and they destroy it for you. They're kind of like a wrecking ball. And then by that point in time, you've created enough Muslim hate between destruction of and then so what's left is a bunch of people who hate Muslims that are willing to accept the Israel way of life and then go in there and then get rid of the Muslims. And I think that Israel needs the Muslims in America to because they'll destroy anything. The Muslims will just absolutely do damage to everything. The gene pool, they will destroy that. They will marry their own cousins first and second. Brothers and sisters will have babies, and they understand that. And so I think Israel needs Muslims to be in America to destroy it. And then once it's right at the point of almost total destruction, then that's when everything moves towards Israel. And then they take over America, and then they end up working with Russia, and then Russia gets to be running America through the Israel.
All right. Okay. All right, William. So what you say? Maybe I'm missing the point here. What you're saying is Israel has something to do with Charlie Kirk?
Well,
No. Well, how about this? How about this? How about this? Israel
there's stuff
runs
out
our
there.
three-letter organizations. Israel runs our FBI, CIA, stuff like that, right? Well, who's the people that normally pick up on these kind of hatched out plans to keep them from happening? FBI and CIA. They monitor online things. They watch things real closely in case something is about to happen. And a team of people will go and arrest people doing crazy stuff online because they realize they're a danger. Well, if you run these organizations and you want certain people out of the way, politicians like Donald Trump and stuff, then your FBI is like, hey, dude, I got this Tyler Robinson guy, or I got this Tyler Crooks dude, or I got the guy that actually was on the roof, which was not Tyler Crooks, but the other guy with a tattoo on his arm. These people are crazy. They're doing crazy stuff. Instead of telling the FBI to arrest these people, they put their dark agents in to get involved and help them out, and then
Yeah,
they let it happen. So Israel's not even really doing it. They just make sure it happens.
Right.
Right. It's just, it's like when you have people who take care of things for you, you know, it's
Well, better
in the
yet, it's a
shadows.
stand down. Like it's the way of, it's Israel's way of creating a stand down so that you have a certain effect. Now we've never heard that before, unless you know anything about October 7th when it comes to stand downs, so that certain
Yeah.
things can happen to lay out a narrative. Israel's really good at that. So you just don't do anything at all. Better yet, just let it happen. Just kind of stand down, just stand and let it kind of flow. And then what happens then? You know. So,
You know,
and then
I think personally myself, William, I think you got a good point. You know, I think Israel is more involved than what most people think or, you know, or say, but they don't want to get involved in it. And I think you have a good point. You know, speaking of help, do you think Israel is paying Antifa along with Soros?
No, the taxpayers are. But you know, but Israel pays BLM and stuff. They get money from politicians and stuff, but our taxpayers pay for Antifa through NGO grants.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious as how that's going to kind of turn out ever since USAID, you know, got, you know, canceled and you know, now that all that money is going out through them is going to cease. And they traced a lot of Antifa, Black Lives Matter money back to that. Plus, not only that, but to Act Blue, as you probably know. Act Blue is collecting money from both organizations.
Well, I think that we're seeing it. What we're watching is indicative of how the reaction is of USAID. This is why I think violence is ramped up, because that's their answer, is to create violence and then blame the violence on the deflated organizations and say that because of these deflated organizations, you can't handle things. We need this money back so that we can put in place the necessary infrastructure to monitor. You're actually witnessing what is happening because of this.
Yeah.
You know, because that's where Democrats were getting all their money from. That's how come they were so rich when it came to elections. Didn't nobody donate these people? Or these rich people aren't coming off their money.
Well, what about Soros? John, what do you think is going to happen with Soros?
They're going to bring him in. This is another thing to it. They're going to bring him. Soros is pretty much untouchable. They're going to bring him in. I mean, let's face the facts on this. Do you think this guy's going to stand 1 minute in prison? There's no way it's going to happen.
Yeah,
all they can do is put up a show for us. So all they're going to do is put up a show. And
do you believe that he's paying for Antifa?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's been paying for that all along.
Hey, real quick before you know, we're almost going to be running out of time. We still got some time, but I want everybody out there that's watching leave a note and say hi over there in the comments so that we know who you guys are. And
hey, Bear Ashby.
Yeah, I saw Bear. Hey, Bear. She popped in.
Yeah. 17 people watching. Y'all can say hello.
Dave, you have that one quick clip on that minute clip on the one I sent you about the superintendent of schools from Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah, let me get it.
This is a real sweetheart. I mean, we're starting to find out all this stuff, about the illegals. I don't know if you guys have heard this or not, but the superintendent of schools in Des Moines, Iowa, which is the largest school district in the entire state.
The superintendent of Des Moines, Iowa was not a legal citizen. Ian Andre Roberts will now be sent back to Africa. How the F did this happen? Am I crazy, or do you also think that they should probably be in this country legally to hold that position? I mean, they're in charge of a lot of schools when they're the superintendent. Oh, and wait for it. It gets better. So this superintendent of Des Moines schools that was here illegally from Africa also fled. He fled when they were trying to detain him, and he was armed. Yeah. Des Moines.
Yeah, they chased him, and they found his car abandoned, found a gun in the car, and apparently he's been in the country for over 23 years, and he just got a judgment in 2024 that they basically revoked he was going to be deported.
There is a deportation notice. He didn't make it through.
Iowa's school system that man ran, that he was superintendent of, is the largest school system in all of Iowa. How the hell did this happen? Let me ask you this. Do you all think that the people that put him in that position should probably be looked into as well? Do you think we should find out how this happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if I was a family in that school district, I would want answers to all of those questions.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
Absolutely.
Good point. And you know, John, you had a skit on there with the cats and the dog. That was a good one. That was a good one. Get the cats out of their skin. I loved it.
I try to put some levity in some of that stuff too. You know, the news is also depressing. You know, that's the reason why I try to mix up the shorts with some funny ones or something a little bit different. Because
that was a riot. I loved it. I loved it.
I mean, sometimes I just get to running across these things left to right and going like, "You got to be kidding me! I'm just getting sickening." I mean, there's nothing. I mean, it'd be nice to talk a bit, you know, whatever.
William,
but
Yes.
you didn't tell us about what was happening up there in your state. That was breaking news. Like what, last night, yesterday morning?
Yeah. Well, besides, pray for the people at the church that were caught up in that. That's the new thing. I'm a little late on getting reporting on that. I've been really busy this afternoon. But in Southport, which is close to Wilmington, it's the coastal area of North Carolina. There was a dude that was and I did a lengthy video on a deep dive. What's weird is something's up when they don't take their social media down. They want them to be looked into. I did a deep dive into this guy. His name was Bovies, something Sean Bovies, but he changed his name to Nigel Nigel Edge. Nigel Edge. He changed his name to this. He was an Iraqi veteran. He did 2 tours over there. He was a sniper. He did a bunch of tank reconnaissance and stuff. He had taken some pretty hard. He had shrapnel. I think he'd been shot in the head. So he had a lot of things that happened to this guy. Had fired off on a bunch of people that were sitting on the dock at in Southport. And I say this because they said he escaped back into international waters, but then was apprehended by the U.S. Coast Guard. And then they arrested the guy, and then they left his social media up for everybody to look at. And I just thought that was strange. But the media is going to say this is a right wing guy, Trump supporter, MAGA dude. But I couldn't see, that'd be the one thing that they would have left up was that. But no post in any of his social media shown, or at least Facebook showed, where he was saying vote for Trump, fight. No MAGA, no nothing. Everything was related to government conspiracies. He even wrote a book, and it was on Amazon called Headshot, talking about what happened to him. And he said that he encountered friendly fire on purpose by his own platoon. Something was wrong. There's something had really badly happened to him while he was in the military. And then when he came home, it was a lot of things that happened when he came home. So, but he had a lawyer's degree. He had several other doctorates he got when he got back out, went to college and all this stuff. So he wrote a book. He was filing lawsuits. And then all of a sudden this happens. So there's a lot of layers to this guy that you could say, yes, he's the one that did it. But then again, he would be the perfect patsy because he's trying to expose things going on within our military that happened to him, things that it was human rights violations over there that was happening. And so there'd be a good way to get rid of the dude. However, he's still alive as far as I know right now when they took him into custody. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And, I just go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
You started to say something.
I didn't start to say anything.
Sounded like you.
That was Andrew.
I didn't think of anything either. I was trying to put it on John.
That's Andrew down there. But no, things are just no.
Okay, if you want to know what's going on here in California, I'll give you a real quick cap here. Newsom, he's trying to push everybody down everybody's throat. You know what's going on in the bullet train, right? Not one, after 17 years, not one track has been laid yet. Now, all these new stations that's going up and down the state between Bakersfield and Merced.
To be fair, they built a bridge. To be fair, they built a bridge. Over 99 and 5 right there. So that's the only thing.
No track.
Then they bought up a bunch of cleared land and paid farmers for, a lot of money went to just getting the land from the farmers.
It
That was a
doesn't mean
stupid,
that.
stupid
Yeah,
idea.
okay, they got a bridge. Where's the tracks?
There
You're
is
not going to get them. Trump denied. He denied. The federal government denied giving them their money that they asked for.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's
That was
supposed
another
to end
money
in
laundering.
Merced or start in Merced, right? Well, anyway, they've already got the station set up, ready to open up the doors, right? Well, guess what? Merced said no. We are not going to open up that station ever.
Right. Canceled. Yeah.
It's unbelievable how bad this state is being run. And by the way, where's that money that for the people down in LA that had lost all their houses in that big fire?
All that money got put into a special distribution to nonprofits who said that they're helping, people with clothing and helping people with food and helping. But then when you look at it, the proportion that's actually going to the people, it's really not happening. They basically laundered that money out to other nonprofits. See, the way it works with nonprofits are allowed to keep 40% of whatever they're granted for overhead and so forth. Now you take a chunk and you can give it to another nonprofit. They take 40%, and then they might distribute it out to a couple of other smaller nonprofits. By the time you get down the end, there's not a whole lot left to actually do the work. The other thing is that they went out and campaigned that absolutely 100% of all this money is going directly to the homeowners, and it never happened.
What makes you think none of that money is going into the politicians' pockets?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you could maybe allege that, but I've been on the other side when it comes to nonprofits, and I know when we were getting grants from the federal government, the state of California would step in and say, well, you can't have that grant directly. You have to get it approved through us. Then they take a chunk, from that grant, and they get a distribution or management fee out of it, right? And then I realized, okay, so when California gets grants for certain things that they're trying to get done, then they send all these grants out to all the little cities. Right. Then all the cities let that same money out to all the local nonprofits. Problem is everybody is taking their cut on the way down.
Yeah, 1% of the money usually goes out to people.
Coming in to help the people.
Maybe 12 to 15% actually hits the street.
You're being really gracious.
Yeah.
You're being really gracious. I think it's less than that. Most of the time, it's about.
Well,
they say it's average is 1%.
It depends on the size of the grant and what it's for and so forth. Generally when it's something that's supposedly like, the Boys and Girls Clubs planting trees down Main Street. So they go in and say, well, we need X amount of dollars for X amount of trees because it's all the volunteers are planting it. So they do a calculation. They figure, well, then we got to get a grant for X amount of dollars. So that by the time we clear it, through their clearing part, that they actually end up with enough to do the actual top task. But in general,
opinion there.
Yeah. But in general,
anyway,
it's
we at the top of the hour or what?
Yeah.
Beyond it.
Guess that's it. We're done. We made it to the top of the hour.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in. See, there's about 19 people still hanging out with us. They didn't leave a comment, so we don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah. Do you hate us, you 19 people? We don't know. We'll never know. Are you real? If you 19, you 21 people watching, if you're real, give us a thumbs up in the comment section.
Or are you bots? They might be bots.
Yeah, I'm really curious whether those are bots or not. Literally.
Yeah. If you're
because
real people,
we can't trust what the tube does anymore.
Yeah, if you're real
leave
people,
a comment, and then we'll know you're real.
Give us a thumbs up. I want to see if there's 20 real people watching it. Yeah.
Well, hey, I just got one last word to say. Hey, everybody, I'm glad you dropped in. Thank you for watching the old folks here. And roll on. Have a good weekend. What's left?
All right. You got to say anything, John?
I'm watching.
No, pretty much. Appreciate everybody showing up. We're here once again like a dirty penny. We show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, you computer bots. Thanks for not leaving a thumbs up. We know who you are. We're out.
Bye-bye.
Bye.